guys, I'm on my phone, so it might be a bit blurry. Something's been on my mind, and I actually think it's so important to the degree that it's actually the root cause of nearly, I'd say, 70-80% of the suffering on the planet, if not all of the suffering on the planet. And it's a very tricky thing because unless you're talking to someone who's touched upon what I'm about to say, then you're unable to teach them, because it's up to spirit, it's up to the universe to show them the truth and the reality of things. Now, for most people, there are probably three realities on the planet. Now, reality number one is the world around you as it is. Reality number two is the world around you as you think it is. And number three would be the one that the establishment would want you to think that it is. So out of all of those three, the first one is actually the only genuine reality. Reality as it is universally the truth. And this is what every great master and spiritual teacher tried to teach you on the planet. Jesus, Buddha, all of the yogis, everyone today even, who are out in the world trying to show you this present moment, the power of the now, and the way to take no thought for your life as instructed by masters like Jesus Christ. Now, the problem we have is when we see reality as we think it is, we live in an illusion. And then the next problem you have is, how do you tell people that they live in an illusion when the illusion itself will take offense, because the illusion, the ego, actually wants to live that way. It wants to see the reality as it thinks it is, to hold on to its identity. It's built up this identity on opinions and concepts and ideas and truths that aren't necessarily the truth in this present moment, in this reality, but are just truths that they have learned inside the ego and thus have established that this is my truth. But we know our truths changed. Once over in my life, I ate meat, and now my truth on that has changed. I see no need to support that in the West. But once over, I didn't. So we are changing constantly. Now, it's just an example. Now, the problem you have is on the planet with these separate realities that are going on. The third one, everybody knows why that's wrong, because it's about profiteering and control. And nobody wants to be controlled, ultimately. The second one is the main problem for all of us. Reality as you see it, as is happening out there right now behind me, is life's not hard, life's not easy, life's not spiritual, life's not physical, it's not mental, it's not emotional. These are all simply concepts of the human mind. They are labels we've assigned with meaning within inside our language system to say that's how we determine, that's how we, using calculus, catch life and try to describe it inside the alternative reality of the thinking mind. But when you shut off the thinking mind and you look at reality as it is, at that point is where you enter the eternal truth. And it's at that point, there was a saint, and I don't remember who it was, he said that very few people are guided. Their guru, very few people have spirit as their guru. They always need books, they always need teachings, they always need another person to show them. And very few actually go into the present moment and allow that present moment to be their guru. But the present moment can teach us. And I'll give you a prime example. I teach, share. I prefer to say share. I'm going to start using that more than teach. Don't want to be seen as a teacher. I'd rather be someone who's sharing my journey, because I don't claim to be a master at all. I just know what's happened to me since I started my journey. I have to remember 7 years ago, I was still a drug addict. So I'm still building and growing as I go. So I'm not here to teach the definitive infinite truth, but to share my truths, which have gotten me to where I am. And those truths work. I have practical application, which is always important in all logical reasoning on the planet. So I share Christian mysticism, and people who sometimes they are literal Christians, they'll have come into my life over the years, and they see the work we do with the children and they want to help, and indeed they do help. And I'm eternally grateful for them. I love them for it, and they are beautiful souls. However, then what happens is they have a reality stored in their ego whereby Eastern practices, or that which is labeled Eastern, which are actually global practices, are defined as evil. And things like showing Christian mysticism, whereby Christian was founded with Hebrew mystics and Greek mystics and Athenic mysticism and so on and so forth, and Mesopotamian mysticism, Sumerian mysticism, and this code about the universal truth of the chakra system and the anatomy of prayer. They hear that it's evil because you've got these pastors and preachers who do very shallow research on secret societies, and these secret societies carry this knowledge. But the corruption that happens, it doesn't mean the knowledge is corrupt, the people are. They set out, even the Freemasons set out to do good. Nobody sets out to do evil. But what happens is justification creeps in, the abuse of power creeps in, and the ability to ascertain great wealth, and thus the doorway for great temptation comes into the lives of these people. But because of that shallow research, they think that this practice is what is evil, not the temptation that has pulled people away that are using it. And thus, for all initially, they saw me as a good person, they saw me as someone doing God's work, and their reality, the true reality, their senses that are guided only by God and Spirit in the present moment, said, this is good, and this I want to be involved with. I want to help those kids. It's the right thing to do. This is God's work. That then changes, and they enter back into their own reality. And some of these people challenge me, say that I'm even evil, and then don't help the children anymore. And this is the problem with seeing the world as you think it is versus the world as it is. These people have come into my life, saw the world as it is initially, and said, I want to help, and that's a beautiful thing, and it's God's work. I think anyone with any common sense can see that we're doing God's work in Tanzania. And unfortunately, because they have this stored reality in their ego, which is an illusion, it's false, they lose track. And when they lose track of reality as it is, they go into reality as they think it is. And it happens to the degree that they even stop doing God's work. Now, I'm not saying they don't move on to do other good things with people, and that's fine. But they, in that instance, in my life, people have stopped helping the children because they have a reality stored in their ego, and that reality challenges the initial senses, God-given senses they had. And that is where we have the problem. And that's why Jesus said, take no thought for your life. That's why I made a parable called the parable of the five, because you can't be expected in this world to be able to cope with. And when that happens in this world, we see the problems, we see the suffering, we understand the message of God, we understand what is loving and what is just and what is right in a good parent's eyes, and thus in the eyes of Mother, Father, Creator. But we don't do it. And the reason we don't do it is because we have differences in our reality of how we perceive the world, how we think it is, instead of how the world is. And thus, if you have, as I said in my parable, 5 different religions walking towards something who can't stay quiet in the reality as it is, then they will likely, as happens on the planet, not work together and not get God's work done. And that's why at the core foundation of every spiritual teaching has to be the abolishment of the human ego, not the transformation of the human ego into a fake higher self and all of this stuff that's going on in the New Age movement, because that's what's happening. We've got lots of people, I'm accessing my higher self. No, they're transforming ego into higher self, which I'll do a video on in itself. But it's starting to rain, I'd better get off soon. But this is what the problem is on the planet. Quite simply, the problem is all over the place that too many people see reality as they think it is. And that's not reality. Reality is as it is. It's not spiritual. It's not hard. It's not easy. It's not physical. It's none of those things. That's a concept. Reality just is. That there is reality. It has no label. It's just happening. And you can choose to oppose it. You can choose to get with it. Or you can choose to just be experiencing it. And when you choose to just experience it, that is where God can talk to you the loudest. Not through your carnal mind, not through your thoughts, not through books, not through other people, but through the present moment is the greatest guru of all, because that is where Mother, Father, Creator, or the Holy Spirit, or Great Spirit, however you want to deem it, can speak to you via your inner senses. And that's where you'll get the truest and purest guidance of God. And when people turn away from that guidance because how they think reality should be doesn't match up with it, they go against God. And that is the accidental wickedness of the ego, and how the carnal mind is enmity to the laws of God, as it says in Christianity. And that is how it comes to be that we live on a planet with so much divide, because too many people don't know how to see reality as it is, and instead of seeing reality how they think it is. Which means at least once a day you've got to let go of everything, even your beliefs, your faith, your opinions, let go of all of it and just come into the present moment. And when you get into that present moment, when you go back into your carnal mind, then your strength in spirit and your connection with God becomes all the more louder. But you've got to forget it all, because if you don't forget it all, at least once a day, then you make these terrible judgments about the world which are not founded in anything but illusion, founded in the way you think the world is instead of the way the world actually is. So, okay, I'm going to go. It's raining. I don't have a jacket. God bless, guys. It's getting dark as well. I know you can't see me.